ever since her unforgettable voice shot her to fame more than a decade ago. It's the first time at the house, Paloma Faith! Welcome. Ching, ching, ching.
Oh, look, I'm having a tea while
That's all right. You can have some wine later. You can have some... Yeah. Of course you can. Welcome to the house as well.
I'm so happy to be here.
Now, we get a biography...
I walked in, I said, you've done well for yourself.
That's what she said. Just about to say. Now, looking at you, well, you've done well for yourself, because I was reading your bio last night. Normally on the bio we have about 10 pages. You were double that. There's so much to talk about as well, because I know that you love your food as well.
Yeah.
But a bit hit and miss when it comes to serving food for certain people.
Stop it. Can't escape.
Can we mention this story while we do this? Because this, I promise you, won't give you food poisoning, because you gave food poisoning to quite a couple of famous people, didn't you?
It wasn't me, it was the supermarket brand, and they're lucky I've never told anyone which one it was.
Right, OK, go on then.
Because it said it was in date, the meat that I bought, and it obviously wasn't, because poor Adele and Alan Carr got very sick, and Adele's dog as well.
So your cookery performance is a bit hit and miss?
It's not hit and miss. That's literally the only time it's been missed.
Right, OK.
Like,
well, hopefully...
I am actually quite a good cook.
Good. Well, hopefully you like this one.
I used to love cooking, actually, before I had children. Now I hate it.
Right, why's that?
Because I have to cook 3 meals a day, and it has to be quick, and they always refuse all the greatest stuff that I cook that's delicious and, like, wholesome. They're like, no, don't want that. And then they just want boring, flavourless, disgusting food.
You tell them, exactly.
So I'm just like, I'm done. I am done. I'm just going to cook rubbish food for you forever.
Well, hopefully this is all right for you then.
This is the sort of thing that I do when they're, like, you know, if my kids are at their dad's house and I've got a night off, I'll do something
So
delicious.
this is barbecue aubergines. We're going to do this with a wonderful little salad. I've got some zatto over here, and then we've got a selection of bits and pieces that I'm going to serve with a nice little taboulet, which is I'm going to heat this through as well to keep it nice and simple. That's that one. So where do we start with your career? Can I start back with your love of music? Where did you get that? Do you remember listening to tracks when you were a kid? Where did that love affair with music come from?
I think my dad was obsessed with jazz, and he collected every vinyl release ever released on the Blue Note label. So I was brought up with a ton of jazz, and I'd go to his house at weekends, and he'd be like, pick a letter, and then I'd just choose a letter, and he'd educate me on that letter for the day. So it'd be like really obscure sort of jazz players.
And your voice as well. When I thought it would get you an instant album, but you said, you know, it took an awful lot of work, an awful lot of time. Over a decade.
I learnt on the job. I'm a bit like you. You've learnt to play guitar, haven't you?
I have learnt to play guitar.
I think you get these opportunities in life, and you're like, this is an opportunity. I can either go hell for leather and learn how to do something really well, or I can just sort of sit back and wait for myself to fall off and wait for it to fizzle out. And I'd say we've probably got that in common. I wasn't a great singer at the beginning. And then I just thought, OK, I'm going to do this as an opportunity. I'm going to take singing lessons. I'm going to start committing to doing it. So that's what I did, like you and your guitar lesson.
Well, exactly. But wasn't it cabaret, really? And that's what got you spotted into first place. Tell us about the story, because getting that first album, it took over a decade for you to go backwards and forwards. It's incredibly difficult anyway, the music industry, very, very fickle, but...
Well, I worked in a bar and basically joined a band with loads of the staff of a bar that I worked in.
Love this, yeah.
And just did it for fun. And then, like, some people approached and were like, you know, we don't really want the band, we want you. Sorry, guys.
Right. How did it go from that first initial record deal into bang?
I think when you're in it, you don't realise stratospheric. It's been a real slow burn for me.
Really?
I think, yeah.
Because I remember coming to see you at a festival, and, you know, there's 30-odd thousand people at this festival screaming when you walk on stage. You say it's been a slow burn, but it is. People recognise there's iconic tracks now. I say you're one of the iconic performers. Do you still feel like that?
I think probably because I watched this interview with Madonna recently that I thought was really moving. Actually cried when I saw it. And she stood up on stage and said, like, people say I'm controversial, but the most controversial thing I've done is stick around. And I feel like that stands for a lot, because I think, you know, you might say you've got these iconic tracks, whatever, but really all I've done is just hang about. I like a bad smell.
But you've always done. I get the feeling you've always done what you want to do.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I think that's the same with Madonna, hasn't she? She's always done. She's always not broken the rules for the sake of breaking the rules, but I get the feeling
Just
you've
being
always.
true to yourself.
You've always done
yeah.
what you believe in, and I think that's
Yeah.
always the best way to be, don't you?
100%.
Do you think?
Yeah, and I feel so lucky as well. Like, obviously, every time I come out with an album, I always think, this is going to be the album that's the end for me. They're not going to like it. And somehow I've managed to...
Well, tell us about this
Sustain
album,
a
because
career.
we've got a clip from the new album. You've released a couple of singles. So
Yeah.
tell us about the new album then, because this is album number 6.
Yeah, it's album
Yeah.
number 6. It's called The Glorification of Sadness. And it's probably my most personal, partly because obviously it's an experience that is ongoing for me, because it's the breakup of a relationship that was a decade long and
Yeah.
with the father of my children. So the most harrowing breakup I've ever had, the most failure I've ever experienced. And I found it all very overwhelming. And I thought to myself, I've got a choice. I can either sink into this like air of despair and melancholy, or I can turn it into something beautiful. And I think that's why I've called it the glorification of sadness, because it's basically making it into like a hopeful, beautiful thing. Like, because not everything that's beautiful is always positive. Sometimes it's something really beautiful about tragedy and what you do with it.
I'll be honest with you, I think it's the best one you've done yet, because it is because experiences, it counts for everything, doesn't it, in life, I think.
Yeah.
And you can draw on that experience, whether you're a cook or whether you've gone through experience what you've gone through. But particularly for somebody like yourself, who's a songwriter and everything else, you can put all that emotion, everything else into
Yeah.
an album, into
And
a
it's the
track
most
that you didn't have before.
Yeah, totally. It was the most protective I've ever been of my music as well. Like, I exec produced the album because I was so nitpicky about every sound being right and every articulation being right, and also worked with people that were really felt safe to me, like good friends. I think because I felt so vulnerable, and I still do feel quite vulnerable about it, talking about it and stuff. And protective as well, because obviously it's like my family, and my family's changed shape, but it's still my family.
Well, the proof is in the pudding, as
Hopefully.
chefs say. Just listen to how good this lady is. Listen to this.
This is how you leave a man. Leave a man.
Thanks.
I honestly, you got better. You got better. Seriously, because I think you go through.
Like wine.
But this, I remember interviewing you. It's got to be about maybe 8-10 years ago, and I was looking forward to you coming to the house today, because I get of all the people that you interview, sometimes there's a barrier there.
Yeah.
I get the feeling with you, and I've interviewed you twice now over 8 years. It is you. What are you speaking to? Is you very open, very
Yeah.
honest. Which I think is
Yeah,
great.
and
I
it
like.
really, really is a problem for everyone who's around me, because they're like, no, just like, don't, just be quiet. My mum's always on it.
No, I think it's a positive thing
that
as
looks
well.
amazing.
So this is so all I've done is taken, while we were talking as well, I've got the recipes on the internet.
It's very distracting.
Because
It
I've
looks
just done
so
it.
good.
So I've just taken a little bit of olive oil. I've taken some of the za'atar, some of this bit is fantastic. It's like a smoked pepper, Turkish smoked pepper, and you put it in there, and it sort of colours the rice as well. Colour the
Bulgur.
tabbouleh, bulgur wheat, and then I've taken the nuts, the bits and pieces. I've toasted the pine nuts off, and then really the aubergine is just last minute. I've just taken some pomegranate syrup there, a little bit of olive oil, and we take some coriander and a touch of mint. And all I'm going to do is got some salt and pepper in there, and
You
that.
know what I love about this?
What's that?
It's guilt-free,
Yeah. It is.
but it looks like it's going to taste like something really naughty, but it's not.
Well, hopefully you like it. So it's been a pleasure having it at the house at the moment. You're going to stick around. We're going to cook for you a little bit later as well. A little bit more guilty food, I think, a little bit later. But just a touch of that. I'm cooking cod with a nice little bit of cauliflower later for you as well. But there we have it. My first dish for Paloma Faith.
Yes.
Little grilled aubergine with a nice little simple salad. Easy as that.
Looks delicious.
Paloma, there you have it, your first dish.
Are you not going to try any?
Well, I've got some in the pan. Yeah. Is
Oh,
that
yeah.
right?
That's the, the perks of being the chef.
Yeah, you would just eat it out of the pan.
I'm going to make that at home.
Maybe not for the kids. With the kids. The kids might eat that.
They won't, they're such snobby.
The kids want to eat it. There we go.
They only want potato waffles.
All right, well, I can't be. Yeah, make my life a lot easier, to be honest, but doing potato waffles. But there you go. You're going to stick around. We'll chat to you more a bit later as well. I'm
Yeah,
going to
that's
cook for you a little bit later.
divine, everyone.
Good, there we go. Right, Paloma Faith, everybody. And we've got Mike Reed will be firing at the stoves very shortly, but join me again after the break when we've got another chef, Mr. John Hooker. We'll be treating us to a plate of the finest venison Devon has to offer. I'll see you in a bit. This is delicious. This is lovely, isn't it?